Welcome to the BIKC regional finals here at High Wycombe. We're going to jump straight into it because I've got quite a lot of footage to go through. But here we are in Heat 1. 3 heats and a semi-final, followed by a final at the end is the format. Each heat has a 4-minute qualifying beforehand, and as you can see in heat number 1 I qualified in P3. Rolling starts, and at High Wycombe the track, very narrow, pretty cool track with the up and down ramps. But other than that, it's just a basic team sport track with the electric carts and the boost button. Pretty hard to overtake around here, especially with the new tyres, increased grip. But you can still do some overtakes, as you'll see later on in the video. I do make some overtakes, shock. Now, Heat 1, I'm just dropping off the leaders because I felt like in the morning I didn't have much pace. My lap times were much slower than the others in the morning because all my practice sessions were on a Thursday members nights, where obviously it's been a whole day and the track's nice and warm and the karts are warm and all that kind of stuff. Obviously today is a Sunday morning at 9 o'clock, so the track difference, the track evolution will be absolutely non-existent in the morning. So I do struggle to get up to speed for the first few heats, but obviously by the final I'm pretty much fastest man on track. As you saw there, P2 made a nice move into P1, but that has reversed itself considering he's just gone nice and slow. Some sort of kart issue, and I managed to get myself up into P2, but not for long. Red flag. As you can see there, he stopped and he had his kart broken down, and unfortunately we have been put back into P3 as it goes based off the lap before. So looking to make some positions though, because he's got a cold kart now. So hopefully me and P2 can do some moves on him and see what we can do. Again, bumper to bumper. It seems to be a bit more carnage behind though as the yellow lights come on. So just slowing down. Now at this point I think, oh, okay, maybe it's going to be a restart. We're just going to go around again and do a nice roll and start again. But I was wrong and I should never have thought that, because it's just yellow light in a race. You can go green at any time. And as you're about to see, I lose out massively because of me not paying attention to the lights, because I just thought it's going to be another standing start, another rolling start as normal. But the lights go green about now, and you see I'll get hit from behind and I get loaded out of the way. And there I'm just losing positions after position after position. Nice freight train up the inside, as you can see, wasn't very happy. All the way down to P7. Now the driver in question who hit me and loaded me out of the way did in fact get a 5-second penalty, as it was his first offence. Penalties after your first offence double, so then it'd be a 10-second, then a 20, and then disqualification. So P7, I knew it's not the end of the race though, and I know that I can recover a few positions. Obviously I'd like to, as you don't want P7 in one of your heats, because it just won't set you up very well. I got the overspeed on this guy, and he left the door open, so I'm going to throw my car up the inside. Nice clean move there, no penalty for that. I got myself up to P6, and you can see the pack in front. I managed to catch right up to P5. His car seemed to have no speed at the end of this race, almost like it was dying. And as you can see here, up the ramp, I do press the boost, but the overspeed I have on him is just that high that I managed to get the overtake done, and that was the final lap. So good job I got that overtake done. Final lap, nice clean move up to P5. Unfortunately the driver with the penalty did end up finishing 5 seconds ahead of me, so I didn't gain that position, so I still finished P5. Straight on to Heat 2, qualified P2 with the driver who had the penalty in Heat 1. So obviously I know that I'm faster than him, I beat him on track. Legitimately, he did beat me on track because he got a penalty for it. But see what we can do. I was much faster in the opening stage of the race. I seemed to have a bit more control of my car compared to here on cold tyres. But as the car started to warm up and the track started to get a bit better, he just pulled away that extra bit and I just couldn't keep up. But I didn't have any pressure from behind either. Obviously the first lap here I had someone right behind me, but eventually me and P1 just drove away until we had a race restart because of a red flag, another kart issue. So race restart, nice again, rolling start, right up bumper of P1, but at this point our tyres were warm, so I couldn't really do much. As I said, he had a bit more pace than me in a warmer kart, but now I've got the drivers behind to deal with. But that's not too much of an issue, as I know I drove away and me and P1 managed to just drive away and get a nice comfortable P2 for myself. I did have quite a lot of overspeed there, if you saw, so I just kind of gave him a little nudge. He just covered it off just in time on the inside, or else I would have gone for that. But skipping ahead to the final lap, I'm pretty sure, go across the line in P2 with a big gap between me, P1, and me and P3. So moving on to the final heat, with a P2 and a P5, I need another P1, I need a P2, I need a P3 at least to put myself in a good spot for semis. And as you can see, I managed to qualify P2, so that's all good. Now for some reason I've missed the start, but that's what happens when you go on live commentary. Yeah, apparently I didn't want to edit the starting. But that's fine. You say P2, that would have been the opening lap. I haven't lost or I haven't gained positions. I started in P2, so you haven't really missed much. Now this driver is from Birmingham. I didn't realise that until about the end of the night, where he obviously, spoiler alert, he won. So I didn't know he was from Birmingham until then, so obviously crashed to him. But yeah, he managed to pull away. He was really fast today, just a little bit faster than me. I couldn't really keep up. I know there was a few times in the race where I was right behind him, but eventually he just pulled back away. So there's not much I can do. Now I did have P3 right down behind me, so that was my main focus in this race. I knew P2 was going to be good enough for a decent start in the semis, obviously because your 3 heats add up points to decide you're good for the semi-final. And yeah, just skipping on to the final lap. He hasn't actually drove away as much as I thought he did, but I just missed the gap the whole time. I couldn't get close enough to make a move. But yeah, finished P2 comfortably. And that was P2, P2, P5. So for the semi-finals, I'm either starting P3 or P2. I've actually started P3, unfortunately. Which means if I finish where I would, where I am now, for the grand final I'll be starting P5 or P6. Which isn't ideal, as obviously top 3 go through. So I knew that it was important to make a move to try and get into P2 and even maybe P1 in the semi-final. Now I did get a not a lucky semi-final, but some of the drivers which were definitely doing better and good were in the other semi-final. So I knew that I was definitely the fastest person in the semi-final, but obviously my heat finishes didn't prove that. But I knew that I was confident that I could get up to P2, and it's just a moment of picking my position to overtake him, and making sure it's clean as well without getting a penalty. As a penalty in the semi-final will just completely ruin your final, probably start at the back, or worst comes scenario, you won't even make it into the final. So it's just important. I'd rather stay in P3 and not get a penalty than get a penalty over there taking P2 and not even make the final. Now, not Savaji Baji here. He said he's going pretty ultra defensive by lap. This is only lap 2 and he's parking the bus already. He knows that I'm all over him. He is feeling pressured by my presence. And I'm going to try and make an overtake sooner rather than later. As another important thing in the semi-finals is your lap times. Because obviously there's 2 semi-finals. Your lap times get compared with your opposite from the other semi-final. So if I finish in P2, you get my fastest lap and the other semi-final P2 finisher, and whoever had the fastest lap will start in front of the other driver. So if I finish P2 and had a faster lap than the other driver finished P2, then I would start P3 in the final, which is already a national final spot, which is brilliant. But I wouldn't have to do anything but defend. But to get back to that position, I obviously need to overtake this guy, and he's obviously parking the bus. So my lap times right now are definitely not good. I need to overtake him, get into some clean air, and get some good lap times done. But unfortunately, he's just parking the bus. I'll get alongside him. Hopefully I can stick around the outside like I've seen some other people do. But there's just no grip. I don't know how other people did it, to be fair. And obviously I had P4 right behind me as well. So I wanted to make sure I wasn't going to lose a position by compromising myself. Skipping forward, you can see I'm eyeing up some sort of move, but I just don't know where. I got a bit of overspeed, and I just absolutely lunge up the inside. He didn't defend it. I sent it. That was a good, clean move, no penalty there. And that got me up to P2. Now, I knew I was a lot faster than this driver, and he also had the drivers behind him following me through, so he was defending and battling. So I need to get my head down and get a good lap. Unfortunately, that didn't really happen. I messed up I only had like 3 laps to set a good lap. Now you can see with my shaking my head, even though I'm in P2, I knew that wasn't good enough to get a P3 starting position. And as you can see, that pays off, as I am starting P4 in the grand final. And this is it. I need to finish P3 to get into the national finals at Warrington. So I need to make a move. It's just when and where. And if I even can do it cleanly as well. Because remember, these are the best drivers now throughout the whole event, as these guys have been at the front all their heats, been at the front at the semi-finals. These are the best drivers of the night, so it makes it even harder to do an overtake. So yeah, P4, I need to get to P3. Slow start to this one, everyone kind of gets a bit of a gap between each other. But we all kind of close back up again. And yeah, you can see P3 kind of pulls away, so I'm a bit gutted at this point. But he eventually starts defending, which is what I needed him to do. Because if he starts defending, then I can obviously catch up, keep up, and try and make a move. P1 and P2 have pulled away. I know they made like a little pact together that they just wanted to pull away and guarantee a spot into the finals, which is fair play to them. That's exactly what I would have done if I was in P1 and P2. But unfortunately, I'm not. I've got to do all the hard work in P4. I've got to overtake and not get overtaken at the same time. Very hard position to be in. P3 just needs to defend. They don't need to worry about overtaking. P5, they've got nothing to lose, so they need to overtake me and P3. But P4, obviously I'm in prime spot to overtake P3, but I've also got people breathing down my neck to be in that prime spot to overtake P3. Now here, he doesn't defend. So I just send it up the inside and get into P3, and that's a great move. Obviously, unfortunately for him, he gets overtaken by the other driver as well. But he left the door open, and I just went for it and got the move done. And now I need to get my head down and just drive off, hopefully. But the driver behind clearly didn't like that idea. The driver already got a penalty for overtaking me. He goes up my inside, but he's nowhere near alongside. It was my corner, and he just completely hits me out of the way. And unfortunately for him, the karma paid back because he lost position to P3. So he didn't gain anything from that. The only thing he gave himself was a 10-second penalty. So unlucky for him, but it was his own fault. Don't know what he was doing. It was my corner. I was ahead. Tough luck. So I'm obviously in P5 now, and I know P3 is definitely in P3 because he's one who hasn't got a penalty. P4 has obviously got a penalty, but he's in the way. So even though I am P4 on track right now, I've got him in front of me, and I've got to overtake him to get to P3. So it's going to make my life a lot more difficult here to try and get that move done. So yeah, just put my head down, try and get on the back of Kai, try and get some move done, see what I can do. I need to get P3. It's all or nothing now. If I get myself a penalty, I get myself a penalty, because at the end of the day, I'm not going to get through being P5. So what's the point of just sitting holding back? Let's go for it. Let's try some adventurous things and see what I can do. So yeah, just trying to keep up with it at the moment. We're all kind of exactly the same pace, which is the issue when you go to the high grip tracks like this. Mistakes are very unlikely, and your lap times are all just so close that you know, it's very hard to keep up, or very hard to gain that advantage to get an overtake. But he's right behind P3 at this point, so P3 is defending, because at this point in time, none of us knew that P4 has a penalty. It was obviously obvious to me that I knew he was going to get a penalty, but for other drivers it might not have been, and he hasn't been given a penalty board yet. So at the moment, as it stands, he doesn't have a penalty. He must get a race, must get the penalty post race. So either way, this is making P3 defend, even though you could actually let him go and defend against me and it would be fine. But why would you do that when you've got a car in between us? So yeah, just making my life very difficult here. As I said at the start, it's hard to overtake. You've got to like properly send it, and when you've got these drivers who know what's coming now because they've seen me do the move already, they're going to defend it all the time now, and you've got to try something different and try to catch them off guard again. So lap 7 now, almost halfway through, not quite, as just sat in P5, all the drivers are defending. I've got someone behind me, but he's not that close to the point where I have to defend myself. I'm currently taking, you know, wide lines to try and get some overspeed on the drivers in front, but eventually he does catch up and he ends up right on my bumper because of P3 defending. We're not going as fast as we possibly can. Again, I'm all over kart 13 here in P2, but as you saw there, just in a glimpse, corner of the eye, I've got P6 all over me, hitting to the back of me, loading me through that final corner, and I just lose some time. I'm telling him to stop loading me, let's just go, follow me through. Because again, P6, you've got to make some good moves there, but just annoying that he started to load me. If I was a bit closer there, probably could have done something with that. As you saw, I almost got alongside P4, but because I just got hit behind in the last corner, I just lost that time. If I was closer, maybe I could have followed P3 through, up the inside. Here, P2 loses momentum, and I managed to get ahead of him up the ramp. I don't know what happened there, but in hindsight, that was a bad move, as you just saw. Around the outside was never going to work. There was 2 right-handers next. The next person followed through, and the next person, and the next person, and the next person. We were free riding that final corner. I've dropped all the way down to P8. Luckily managed to keep from going down for P9 and going around the outside of that driver. But yeah, down in P8, what a disaster. From going up to P3 into a national securing place down to P8 within 5 minutes just wasn't the one. I was obviously quite mad at this point, but I was putting my head down and I was continuing to drive. As you see, I was now setting the fastest laps of the race constantly. I had my head down, I was nailing the apexes, nailing the lines, and I just wanted to see how far up I could get, do some more overtakes. Overtakes are in fun to do, enjoyable. Let's just see what I could do. Obviously I've got a bit of a gap at the moment, but as you can see, P3 is just ahead of us there. So we're not miles off, but it's going to be a big old task to get back up there. And then obviously I'm going to have to overtake P4, P5, P6 and P7. All over the back of P7 here, I do kind of look for a dive, but you just can't do it. It's just a penalty. It's just asking for a penalty if you do it into that corner. But over halfway now, just going to start lap 12 out of 19. And I knew we were definitely around the halfway point. But I knew I still had some time left, hence I didn't give up. Hence I got my head down, setting some fast laps. As you can see, with me and P7 are catching up to P5 and P6. So, you know, all of these karts here are within range. He leaves a gap open, I just about get my nose in, just about get it to 50-50, and just about get the move done cleanly with no penalties. So that happened, up to P7, happy with that move. Definitely the most on edge move I've done, but it worked and we're through. Lap 13 now, and yeah, lap 13, P7, and I've got to catch up to P5 to P6. I want to, I'm hungry for it. I know I'm fast, I'm setting really good lap times right now, so let's see what can happen. Obviously a bit far back at the moment, but hopefully P5 is defending to a point where it slows down P6 as well, and I managed to get an overtake done. Maybe get them both, maybe get just one. Let's see what happens. Coming on to lap 14 now, 4 laps to go. Actually 5 laps to go, and as you can see there, P6 clearly used his boost in another position to try and get an advantage on P5, and because of that he didn't have a boost for main straight, and you saw the overspeed I had there, and because I just had so much overspeed, I decided to just stick my nose up the inside, and lucky for me, he obviously saw me coming, he knew he didn't have boost, and he just gave me the room, and it made it nice and easy for me. And that was a really good move there up to P6, using my overspeed from the boost, and getting up to P6. Now P5, this is the same driver I overtook in the semi-finals, so I know that I can overtake him, I know I'm faster than him, it's just a matter of catching up to him, and then finding a place to overtake him, with about 3 or 4 laps to go. It's going to be tough, but I want to do it. I'm eager for it. Let's see how high I can get at the end of this race. You can see P3 and P4 have gone away now. You know, they're gone. There's no chance of me catching them up. But what the chance was me sending up the inside of P5. Nice, basically carbon copy of the move I did on the semi-final against him. He clearly did not learn his lesson. He left the door wide open for me, and I put my car there and got the position. Up to P5. At this point, I was actually really happy. Considering all the other things which happened, to get from P8 to P5 in the space of about 5-6 laps, I was happy with myself already. Can see P4 ahead, the driver who hit me out of the way, and I was obviously eager to catch up to him, but I knew I didn't have many laps left to do that. And the driver in P6 behind me is now defending from P7, so I've got a nice big gap. I'm just putting my head down, fastest laps after fastest laps, nice clean air. Let's see how much I can catch up. Let's take note of the gap here between me and P4. He's just gone into turn 1 now. He's just on the up ramp. So that's the gap. Probably about 5, maybe 8 seconds. I don't really know. But quite a big gap. You see him there going to hairpin 1. Now just to hairpin 2. 3 laps left. Let's see how much we can gain on these laps and see what we can do. If at all we can get behind him. If at all we can do a last lap overtake. I very much doubt it. But even then, it's not going to mean anything because we're still going to be in P4, which is not a qualifying position for the national final. So at this point, I know I'm not making it through, but I'm still just powering on, head down, fast lap after fast lap. You see me double boost there, try and get a good lap. Now that actually did compromise me a bit to the driver behind, which is why you see he's now right behind me, and I go defensive because I did not want the same thing to happen to me as what I did to the driver who didn't have his boost. So I did have to go defensive there. And I'm going a little bit defensive here too, because I know he's still right there. But from now on, I know that I'm clear again, and I'm just going to keep on going. But keep an eye on the gap to P4. It's come down quite a bit. And coming on to the last lap, I gain a lot on this driver. And I reckon if I was about 3 or 4 laps more, I would have been right on the back of him and pressuring him for an overtake. So he's just got into turn 1 now. You can actually see his helmet this time, whereas the last lap I couldn't. But look how much I gain on this final lap. Absolutely cracking that, fastest lap of the race this was. Can't exactly remember the time, but fast lap, very good lap, very clean lap. And you can see him there, how much he catched already. He's just coming up to the up ramp now, and we're practically there already. So it just shows what pace I had and what could have been. But this driver, particularly in question P4, had 2 penalties this evening, this morning. It's in the morning. I don't know what I keep saying even. He had 2 penalties at this race event, both of which were trying to overtake me. So clearly he didn't like me beating him. So both times he wanted to ram me out of the way. But yeah, that's the end of this video. Finished P5. I'm happy with the overtakes I've done. I'm happy with the end result. Well, obviously I'm not that happy because I didn't get P3 or P2 or P1. But considering what happened in that race, and I did loads of overtakes, I enjoyed it. I come off with a smile. And that's all that really matters, really. So I'll see you with a very slim chance of getting a wildcard at Nationals. If not, you'll see me in my next video.